how do you balance that? You know, you talk about ambition. Ambition is often long-term. You also talk about affordability, which is a very short-term need. And at the same time, the Prime Minister acknowledges that the budget coming up will have elements of austerity to it. How do you balance all of that while addressing affordability concerns of Canadians?
Well, I think families do that all the time. People understand, you know, when you go to the grocery, you spend. When you buy a house, you invest. And you need to do both at the same time. You need to be there for Canadians at the time of need. We've been there. We've provided sectorial support. We lower taxes for the middle class. We want to give a, we want to give a hand to families who are saying, give me a hand. It's been tough times. But at the same time, people understand that if you want to prosper for the long term, you need to make investments. So people, on one end, you're looking at measures to reduce your spending and making sure you do that in a way that will not affect service to Canadian, but will make the public service more efficient. And I would say, having had discussion with the public service, they work every day to provide service to Canadian. We need to give them the tool. I give you an example. I was at the Revenue Agency of Canada recently. You look at the tools they have. These tools need to be modernized. We need to do better with technology. At the same time, people are saying, okay, we get it. You need to, like we do, we need to reduce spending, but we also need to invest because this is a pivotal moment in our nation's history. The last time I've seen anything like that, you would have to go back to 1945, where we basically, as a nation, we sit back and we say, what do we want to be as Canada? What is this nation going to be about? When you have your largest trading partner turning its back, when you have trading relationships which are evolving, we're in the middle of a trade war. Obviously, this is a moment where Canadians are saying, deal with the short term, reduce your spending, but at the same time, make sure that you invest in assets that will provide prosperity and make sure that this country will be resilient, but also the strongest economy in the G7.
What impact did not, in English, what impact did not having the income from the retaliatory tariffs, that revenue coming in, does that have on this budget? You're going to have to find cuts elsewhere. And on the second topic, what's your reaction that Kevin Roberts is not going to be speaking to Cabinet today?
So on the choice, will there be tough choice to make? Definitely. Is the nation ready? I would say yes. I mean, Canadians have elected us to do things differently. Canadians have understood in our campaign, we say we're going to spend less so we can invest more. And, people understand that. My mother understands that. She said, okay, I get it. After so many years, you need to look at your spending, look at the things that, you have to do differently, things that you may stop doing. But at the same time, you need to look at the future. We all have, people have kids, grandkids, and they say, okay, but at a pivotal moment like that, this is not the time to stop investment in capital formation. That's where the Prime Minister was clear that we'll present a budget where you look at the operational expenses, but on the other end, you look at the capital expenses, because on the capital side, that's where you invest in the future. That's why you make the country more resilient. And that's where you grow the economy. Because if we need to make these investments now so we can capture this changing nature of the world economy. And like I said, I am confident about the future. I am confident about Canadians. Will there be turbulence in the short term? We've seen it, but the Canadian economy is resilient, and we'll make sure that we invest so that, this generation and future generation will benefit from prosperity. To your question, yeah, I mean, listen, we invite different guests to come to our event. We want to hear a different perspective. When you invite international guests, sometimes, scheduling issues, things change. Kevin Rudd will be with us today. And I think, these things happen. But the reality is that we're going to have, today it's a set of discussion, a lot around the economy and a lot about building homes and at the same time looking at our trading relationships.
Are you comfortable if Mr. Roberts had arrived, were you comfortable hearing from him and listening to what he had to say?
It's not about... It's, when you have sessions, you want to hear a different perspective. This is a perspective, and I think to hear from someone who provide a perspective about his view and how things, how they would want to see things, I think that's a perspective that, when you have to make decision, it's always good to have different perspective. We've heard from different speakers who are bringing their own perspective. I think that you gain from having different perspective on that. But to be honest, there's many things we have to do today, and we're going to focus on the big thing. You know, the big thing is about the budget, the big thing is about the economy, the big thing is about affordability, the big thing is about housing.
So the Prime Minister talked yesterday about this budget being about investment, but also austerity. So we know where you guys want to invest. Where are Canadians going to see austerity in this budget?
Well, the Prime Minister and I are on the same page. I mean, again, you talk about ambition and investment and rigor in terms of the spending. That's why the spending review is so important, because, you know, you want to make government more efficient. You want to look at things, you know, the Prime Minister was right when he said over the last years, you've seen an increase in spending of about 7%. That's not sustainable. Folks at home understand that. So folks at home have been tightening their belt for quite some time. They said, if I do it, the government has to do it as well. So having a leaner and more efficient government to provide services to Canadians, that is needed as you're looking to rebuild this nation for the 21st century.
It's not just the counter tariffs that you've dropped, though. Since the campaign, many things have changed. You've dropped the digital services tax, GDP is weaker, you're increasing defense spending. At some point, you're going to have to cut more. So what else will be cut?
Well, like I said, the first thing is about savings. You know, the thing is that we've asked our colleagues to come with savings proposal that we're going to review as a cabinet, the Prime Minister and I, because there's things that we can do more efficiently. There's things that we need to review how they've been done in the past. And at the same time, you need to make the investment, because, you know, what we need to do as a nation now is to seize the moment. Canadians understand that we'll have to find these savings, be very rigorous in how we spend the money. That's the short term. But at the same time, build this nation for the long term. The exact measures, as you would expect, will come in the budget. But I would say we're well on the way with our colleagues. And I think everyone is seized about the fact that we need to reduce spending so we can increase investment. And that is the situation in Canada, but I would say when I talk to my G7 colleagues, look at other countries, look at Germany, look at others, everyone is feeling some of the same fiscal pressure, you know. The NATO spending, for example, look at infrastructure spending, look at Germany. Germany has a plan of 500 billion euro of investment in infrastructure. I think it's over a decade and more. So what you see in terms of the fiscal pressure, where people say the issue about housing, about affordability, about infrastructure, about defense is the same. What I'm saying is that Canada has comparative advantage to others. We have done it before. Look at 1945. Look at 1945. Canada turned completely to be this great industrial nation. So we're going to build on that. We're going to look at technology. We're going to look at new technology, AI. We're going to make sure that industry can pivot to benefit. I've said also those who are in different industry, they should have a defense strategy. People understand there's going to be a lot of investment to defend our sovereignty, not only in Canada, but in NATO countries. So, you know, that's why we need to raise the level of ambition of the country. That's going to be my mission. And at the same time, providing this rigor that people expect from their leaders these days.
Will this exercise in spending restraint lead to layoffs in the public service?
Well, you will find adjustments because you have to take it, you know, when you look at these things, you have to look at the trend. We've been adding a lot of people over the last few years, during the COVID period. So you're looking at adjusting. But at the same time, the point is really about using technology, delivering better services, making sure that Canadians find value for money. And it's about time that we are straight with Canadians. Canadians understand that. I want to be straight with Canadians. Prime Minister was straight yesterday. Tough choices ahead. But, you know, ambition when it comes to investment, rigor when it comes to spending. And yeah, there'll be adjustment in different places. But at the same time, we're going to be empathic to make sure that we're always there for Canadians. We appreciate the work of the civil service. And I think by giving them the best tool that we can find in the 21st century to deliver for Canadians, they look forward to that. I was at the call center at the Sierra, and trust me, people are doing their very best every morning. No one wakes up in the morning saying, you know, that they don't want to offer good services. Everyone wants to offer good service, but you need to give them the tool, the processes. There's a lot for us to do, and the Prime Minister was right. There's far more we can do for ourselves that anyone can take away from us. So I would say let's seize the moment, let's be ambitious, and together we'll build the Canada of the 21st century. Merci.